Well, how's it going, everybody? I wanted to take a moment and kind of listen into the Unashamed podcast with these Duck Dynasty guys. Some of these guys were pretty close to the scene in Asheville, and if you're like me, this has been weighing heavy on me, like heavy in a way that is kind of surprising. I have lived through wildfires and things like that, so yeah, I wanted to kind of join in their conversation a little bit and talk a little bit more about what's going on, maybe in a way that not many people have, like the spiritual impact of this, and maybe not impact, but just, and also like what is the church's response and what do we expect from the church? And so I just thought these guys were very honest in how they had this conversation. So let's give it a check.
So when we came, we had tried to get out and couldn't that night. And we come back into town. It's black, dark. People are on the side of the road. And so I started getting just this heavy weight, anxious feeling on my chest as we're heading toward. We did have a bed to sleep in because our house was still there. But the thought I was having of going to that dark house and not knowing what was going to happen, the next day or the days after, it weighs on you. I mean, like, I'm a person of hope and faith. I never question God in this, but I will say I had a physical and mental feeling. And so that's when we went to Zach's house and got some candles, because even if I could just have a little bit of light in that darkness, I felt a little bit better, secure.
That's the reason Jesus is referred to as the light of the world.
That's it. And that's the way I felt, Dad. And I have thought about that since. If there's, from a spiritual perspective, in dark moments, you need some light. I mean, because in that moment, it just buoyed my spirit enough where I thought, okay, we get up tomorrow, it's daylight, we'll come up with another plan.
And so when I heard Al say that, it was interesting because, again, it put words to something that I was already feeling. And so when you hear that, I mean, podcasting is a funny thing. I mean, you tend to find the stuff that you resonate with. But then there's sort of stuff that seems, kind of supernatural. Like I was thinking that as I was also listening to another person say it. Had a few friends that were close calls out in that area. I'm not far away. There's been a few things that have also kind of been close to home recently. And so when I hear it's just it is refreshing, and I don't know if you come at this as a Christian, non-believer, atheist, if you're just looking for hope or what, but when I, as a Christian person, hear somebody else who shares my just true belief in the person of Jesus, the God who is sovereign, it is refreshing to hear. Even though we're talking about darkness, even though there is some confusion about where God is in all of this. And I did a podcast on the nature of pain not too long ago, and just the idea that God has done something about the evil in the world and the chaos in the world, and is continuing to do something about it. The thing that we needed him to do was to die for us and bring us back into harmony with our Creator, and then everything else sort of trickles out from that. And so I want to go to this Zach's personal testimony here of the situation, and then ask the question of like what is the church? Where is the church here today in that darkness, right? In that dark place where there are physical forces at work, but there's also supernatural forces at work behind this. And this isn't necessarily a place for sort of conspiracies or anything like that, but it is a place to acknowledge what Jesus has already told us. And that is, it's going to be like birth pains. Things are going to get pretty rough out there. And so as Christian people, we do need to ask that question of where is the church, and have we outsourced our responsibility to other agencies? And if so, are we seeing the effects of that? So I want to play this other clip here.
Oh, man. It's a war zone.
Oh, it's bad, isn't it? I was just telling them, Zach, the story. We finally got out going 26 south toward Greenville. Is that how you got in to the area?
That's how I got in. So 40, the interstate's out 40 west and 40 east and 26 coming down. So
Yeah.
the only way into the area, and it's just, I mean, the town our church is in, Swananoa, is completely devastated, and we're just one of many towns. But I mean, the whole town downtown is swept away in the river. I'm talking about the land that the buildings were on is gone, not just the buildings, but the land itself. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, and no water, obviously no electricity. I think the water line, the main water line broke. I just found out, so they're saying they just informed the hospital. Now, of course, a lot of rumors are flying around, but I just heard that they informed the hospital. No water indefinitely. So yeah, it's a lot going on. So we are down in somewhere down near Charlotte. I'd loaded up, and we went and got we're getting a bunch of fuel, bunch of transfer fuel tanks, and going back up, and waters and food and.
Well, I was hoping somebody could get out to supply, and you have to go so far because even in Greenville, when Lisa and I went out, which is an hour and probably 10 or 15 minutes south of you guys, they were still like there was intermittent electricity, but there were long lines. I mean, long lines.
And they only take cash. So I just spent $1,500 on fuel. So obviously the cash has already run out. So we're having to find places to take credit cards. So yeah, it's scary. The children's home that Jill serves at on the board, Black Mountain Home for Children, they're stranded, and so we're trying to get fuel and supplies and water and food into those guys. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's really sad.
And so, I mean, this is one of the things that I'm hearing is, and it's a weird encouragement, but the fact that people are just going out of their way to support each other. They're not, I mean, I want to like bash, I'm not there, so I can't say, but it doesn't seem like people are just waiting for government assistance. People are taking action, and the church is taking action. The church is helping people. Is it all Christians? No, of course not. But are we seeing Christians live consistently with their faith, self-sacrificially going out of their way, using their own money, their own resources, their own time to help these people? Again, it's not the way you want to find encouragement, but there's a silver lining there. There's hope in humanity. There's hope. Like God is doing something.
One of the guys from our church was out there because our church is kind of in the epicenter. We're actually, our building's standing, which is great, but it's in the epicenter of the damage, probably of one of the roughest areas. And one of our members was rescuing people out of the water. So it's just heart wrenching. So we're dealing with a lot of that trauma and, PTSD that people are starting to deal with. And it's really, really sad. Obviously, keep praying for this area. If you want to help, you can give. Our church will be locally on the ground doing stuff. And I'm sure when this settles, we're going to be mucking out people's homes and whatnot. Right now, it's just fuel, water, food, that kind of thing. But you can give at swan.church, and that's with one N, SWAN.church. Or you can give, I don't know the website, but the Black Mountain Home for Children, if you just Google that is an incredible ministry serving kids in our area. Jill's on the board there. That they need all the help they can get. And then probably from like kind of a meta picture of, because we're just one community right at many. I mean, I heard Boone got hammered, Burnsville.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hearing, and what the Grahams, Franklin and
Samaritan's Purse.
Edward, Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
I mean, so those are like, great places to give. I mean, it's just, in prayer.
It's going to be a while for you guys for sure.
I wanted to add this clip, and again, I'm just sort of sharing what I'm seeing. Again, the question for me is, where is the church? Where are the people of God? And have we outsourced our responsibility to other agencies? And in a world where good government exists and where good government cares for the people, where good government does kingdom of God things, I'm for the government. I'm not anti-government here. But in a world where that's not the case, of course, we cannot rely on sort of the city of man type of thing. We can't rely on Babylon to sort of come in and rescue us. Now, are we there? Let me know what you think. Like, are we there? Is there a lot of people sort of complaining that the government but like rightly so, like complaining that the government is sort of a no-show as far as I can see. And yet, in the midst of that horrible sort of aftermath of this, you're seeing people who at least appear Christian, you know, they're starting their day praying. This is a bunch of helicopter pilots going in to Western North Carolina, the area around Asheville, I'm assuming, into those mountains, those remote areas, using their own resources, just like Zach was talking about, using their own resources, taking their own time, spending their own money. Who does this? Other than people that even if they're sort of culturally Christian, have been shaped by the kingdom of God, the person of Jesus. Again, we don't necessarily need to compare worldviews, but compelled to live in a self-sacrificial way. Of course, this is part of the gospel. This is part of the gospel story, is that you go here and you live life alongside those who are hurting. I mean, again, to Zach's story, and I'm not playing the audio here because, I mean, it's a prayer. You know what prayers are like, but you can kind of see how these guys are starting their day. To go back to what Zach was saying, I mean, talking about PTSD, I don't even know that it's PTSD at this stage of the game. It's just trauma. It's just trauma. And a government system can respond in a way to meet the material needs, potentially. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not getting very good at this. And I've done other podcasts on the fall of nations, and how secular society cannot catch up with the increased pressure. Over time, pressure increases. They collapse. Rome collapsed, etc., etc. And yet the kingdom of God does not collapse. The government might even be failing at meeting sort of the base level material needs of people living through this trauma. But they're not designed even then to meet the spiritual and emotional needs of people. The church is. So I don't know where we go from here, but is it possible that the church needs to sort of wake up and take responsibility for our neighborhoods, for our communities? Like, be very intentional about how we respond, and other people maybe being very intentional about how you can support those churches so that the people of God have the resources to do the kingdom work that is missing, so that there's not a vacuum there for the city of man to come in and pretend like they can fill the need, but ultimately they can't. Again, going back to the spiritual and emotional needs of people that are living trauma right now. And with that, I actually want to go on to this Excel College, which is a staging ground for some things that are going on.
They're gone now, so what they've been doing for work has been getting all this aid to the community.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome.
And so, but now they can't pay for tuition, and so we're actually looking over the next month, as their jobs are not going to be there, we're looking to keep them working here, and so we're raising money in a tuition disaster relief fund to help them keep doing what we're doing to help the community while they're in class.
Because their jobs just don't exist anymore.
They don't exist anymore, most of them. Yeah.
And it's a 501c3.
501c3.
They can donate directly.
Yep.
Okay.
We can send the link out to you.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description. I'll put the link down in the comments. But this has been the forefront of helping Black Mountain. This food and these generators and stuff are going up into the hardest hit areas, and let's get behind them and make sure they keep moving forward with this. This is months, not weeks, if not over a year, to get fully restored back up here.
So it's crazy. So Excel College, I don't think he goes into it in the clip, but Excel College is an interesting place. And Black Mountain with Jordan Hall and his church, and I think even the same area that these guys are working in is the same area that the Robertsons are talking about. And you notice this Swan Church is the church that Zach was talking about. I noticed this connection to Jordan Hall and Jim Rutt. They're also in this area. So it seems like, and again, I'm just sort of looking at the backdrop of this and wondering, like, in the midst of this trauma, God is doing something in the church in this area. You have Jordan Hall, who recently became a Christian, and somebody posted, I thought it was somewhat humorous, even though like I acknowledge the trauma of the situation. It's like, so you become a Christian and then God sends a flood. It's like, yeah, that's part of the gospel that we haven't talked about much. It's like, but you get to go through the flood, right? Yes, he sends a flood, but he also sends the ark. You get to pass through the flood. I don't know Jim Rutt. I know he has a podcast, but he's directing people to Swan Church as well. So I don't know what God is doing in Swan Church, but it's the same area. The interesting thing that made me think about it is Excel College, I believe, is a Christian college. It was connected originally to a guy who started what's called Rivendell, which is like another sort of college sort of hybrid prep thing. But I'm maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but it does seem. So this is their website, and I feel like they came out of Rivendell, which was in Minnesota. So maybe somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but their whole thing is, they're believers. We agree with Saint Irenaeus, the assertion, the glory of God is man fully alive. We believe that higher education done rightly will teach students to flourish, not just get a job. So of course, yeah, whatever you think about them, using the opportunity to sort of raise money for the college. I think they should. These are the people on the ground doing the work of Jesus, right? So in a sense, this is the church. It's not a church, but it's the people of God doing kingdom things. So Excel College, Swan Church, connected to Jim Rutt, Jordan Hall, and the Robertsons. So in the midst of the trauma, in the midst of this chaos, there's light. That's where we started this. That's maybe where we should end it for now. Of course, there's an ongoing conversation about this, but it feels to me like at the same time that I am sensing this sort of like kind of like heavy darkness, I'm also seeing a lot of life. And the only explanation that I know of for that is the person of Jesus. The Spirit of God is the one who creates the church. And I wonder if we have gotten a little bit lazy as the sort of the sort of visible church. And now what we're seeing is the invisible church is moving and working in the lives of people to restore people, to heal people, to be with people through this time. Let me know what you think. Thanks.